Shalom. Giving all praise, honor, and glory unto the Heavenly Father, whose true name is Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Racha HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone who do well. Peace and salutations to you, Akim, doing the work in truth and in sincerity across the four corners of the earth. Okay, this is your brother One Ariella with the GMS Miami Camp, coming at you with another lesson. And today I wanted to touch on the topic of all the exchange of missile fires that's happening between Iran and Israel. Okay. We know through the scripture that World War III is supposed to happen. Okay, but the Bible calls it the third woe. Okay. And we know that through the third woe, this is a clear indication that the Lord is his return is very imminent. Okay, it's very close. But we know before that happens, the MOTB has to come out. Okay. And you know, these are all tell signs, right? Or indications that we're near the end. And these things are not going to let up. Like, you know, the enmity or the beef that America and Israel have for Iran and their allies, it's not going to cease, because I think Iran is actually part of the BRICS nation. Let me see. I think Iran is a part of the BRICS. Let me ask the internet. Iran part of BRICS? Yep, Iran. It says yes, Iran is a part of BRICS. It became a member on January 1st, 2024. So, Israel taking the stance that it's taking, doing the things that it's doing, what it's doing is actually provoking the bear, man. Okay. And just like America, it comes to the aid of its allies. All right. Russia's going to come to the aid of their allies, of her allies. Okay. And this is a beautiful thing for us who are in the know, because once again, these are all indications and signs and wonders that the Lord is putting out there to indicate that his coming is very, very soon. Okay. And we know before World War III happens, we know that the MOTB has to be put out first. But it says, yeah, Iran is a part of the BRICS. And, right now, Russia's not saying nothing too much. Let me see. We'll ask the internet. What is Russia saying about the bombing of Iran? Right? Because America has this thing with NATO. It says you attack one, you attack all. You see? It says, in response to the recent bombing of Iran, Russia has expressed concern and condemned the actions of Israel. All right. Russia views Israel's actions as a violation of the UN Charter and international law. Right. Because uh, Netanyahu, he doesn't care about, you know, pacts and agreements. He's going to do whatever he thinks is right in his own mind. And he's going to try to back it up with the Bible, because these people over there think that they're the real children of Israel. And they're not. Okay. Those are imposters living in the land, bastards. Okay, but they're going to justify their wickedness by using, the identity of the children of Israel. All right. It says Russian President Putin urged Israel to use diplomacy rather than military force. All right. Concerns about escalation. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov stated that Russia is concerned about the sharp escalation in tensions between Israel and Iran. Okay, the Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov raised concerns about the potential impact of the strikes on the Bushehr nuclear power plant, calling the situation extremely dangerous. Okay, so Iran is enriching uranium. Okay, so I guess Israel's trying to prevent that from happening, so they're bombing all the nuclear sites, all the nuclear physicists, all right, all the head people there, to prevent Iran from producing more uranium, ergo prevent them from producing more nuclear bombs. Okay, that more than likely they're going to use against their enemy, which stands right now to be America and Israel. Okay, so we see these things are accumulating, but the Bible talks about the least of the flock, drawing them out. And this wouldn't be the first time, because when you go into history, I think it was World War II. The so-called Jews actually persuaded the Britons to get America involved in that war. Okay, and this is how World War II, ended up being. This is how America got to be in that war. Okay, they were pulled into it by the British. Okay, and a whole lot of different propaganda was being pushed out in order for that to happen. Okay, I'm not going to go into the details of it because they make it so hard for the truth to come out. But um, once again, these are all indications that the Lord is about to work on the minds of these leaders to go full force pretty soon. Okay, but once again, before that happens, all right, um, the MOTB has to come out. So I wanted to grab the book of Jeremiah 40, it's like at 50 and 45. It says, therefore, let me see here. Therefore, hear ye the counsel of the Lord Yahweh, that he hath taken against Babylon. Now we know Babylon is a land of confusion, which we know through the scriptures is America. Okay. And his purposes that he hath purposed against the land of the Chaldeans. And the Chaldeans were magicians, sorcerers, witches, okay, idolaters. And he says, surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. And who is the least of the flock? Israel. Okay. And who is he going to draw out? He's going to draw out America to come against these different nations, all right, to start the World War III. Okay. That's a beautiful thing. Okay. Because we know through that, the Lord is going to make his introduction. I think, let me see here. In the book of Second Esdras 13, and I'll grab it here. We'll start at verse 1. It says, and it came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night, and lo, there arose a wind from the sea. Right? It's talking about the chariot of the Lord coming out of the Shemayim, or the waters, or the heavens, that it moved all the ways thereof. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven, meaning the Lord came back with all the hosts, all the angels of heaven, to bring what? To bring judgment upon Babylon and the rest of the world. And when he turned his countenance to look, all things trembled that were seen under him. And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it filleth the fire. Okay, and that's in regards to the concentrated laser beams that these the what the world calls UFOs, but we know them to be the chariots of the Lord, is going to be putting out. All right, these chariots are going to be zapping people, zapping jets, zapping military tanks. All right, zapping people. Okay, verse 5 says, and after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of heaven to subdue that man that came out of the sea. And we know that man to be who? Yahweh Shai. Okay, but I beheld, and lo, he had graven himself a great mountain and flew up upon it. All right, talking about his chariot. But I would have seen the region or place where out the hill was graven, but I could not. And this is a great indication as to how large that chariot that the Lord flew on is going to be. I'm talking about it's going to blot out the whole sun. Okay, that's how huge it is. And Ezra describes this chariot as being a mountain. Okay, and let me tell you something, man. It's not going to de-escalate. It's going to increase more and more and more. Okay, the people are very upset, man. All right, you have a whole lot of once again protests and riots going, not necessarily riots, but a lot of protests going on in America, man. All right, DC, LA, Miami, all right, New York. It's getting real crazy out here. Verse 9, it says, now lo, and I saw the violence of the multitude that came. He neither lifted up his hand nor held sword nor any instruments of war. Now, what multitude is he talking about? Well, let's go to the book of Joel, chapter 3 or 2. Let me see. All right, it's the book of Joel, chapter 3. All right, and we'll start at verse 1. It says, for behold, in those days and in that time when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, right? And this is talking about the children of Israel being delivered to what the world calls UFO and UAPs, which we know them to be chariots. This is how we're going to receive our salvation. It says, I will gather all nations and bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, or Yahweh Shaphat, which means the Lord's judgment. And I will plead or judge with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. So, yes, the Lord is coming back for the sake and the controversy of the children of Israel, starting with the elect. And he's going to gather them down in the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, which we know is to be right there in that Fertile Crescent, man. Okay? Lock here. Let me go back here real quick. Okay. All right. So the Lord's preparing war, man. He's preparing war for these different nations so they could come up against each other, destroy each other. In the midst of them doing that, the Lord is going to come and they're going to stop fighting each other to fight against the Lord. All right. It says in verse 7, but I would have seen or region or place where out the hill was graven, and I could not. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, yet there's fight. So the Lord's going to put the spirit on these different military men from these different nations, right? Whether they be, American or German or Russian and Chinese, the Lord's going to put the spirit on them to stop fighting each other and to turn and fight the Lord. Okay? It says in verse 9, and lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held a sword, nor any instrument of war. But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth, as it had been, a blast of fire, which is the laser beams, out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up every one, so that upon of a sudden of an innumerable multitude, nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and the smell of smoke. And when I saw this, I was afraid. And this is what, the intro, or the intro to what Ezra's is talking about, man. What we're seeing right now, these different um how you say, these different attacks that are being done on Iran and on Israel. This is prophesied through the scriptures, man. And this is what we want. We want this, the elect. We want this to go down, man. We want this thing to rev up and get real serious. Okay. And while that's happening, all right, you have, the MOTB, which we know is to be the RFID chip, whether it be implanted in your brain or in your right hand or in your left hand. Okay. That is on the way too. These things are being prepared for those of us who are here in America and the rest of the world. Brain, what is that? Brain control interface, right? And this technology is allowing people to actually, or brain computer interfaces, right? And this is a technology that's going to allow people with different paraplegic disabilities and things like that, to communicate without necessarily using their own voice, but actually control computers. All right. So they can be able to, vacuum floors or get access to a computer, make purchases online, start the car, turn on the AC. All right. This is what Esau's pushing right now. And we know that technology is a technology that's going to introduce the MOTB, or the RFID chip. It says brain computer interfaces are advancing rapidly, offering new possibilities for communication, control, and rehabilitation, particularly for individuals with paralysis. Recent breakthroughs include enabling paralyzed individuals to speak through a computer, move prosthetic limbs, and control drones with their thoughts. BCIs are also being explored for applications beyond clinical settings, such as gaming, entertainment, and artistic expression. Okay, so they're going to present this thing like, hey, look, this is an advancement. It's going to help you. All right, it's going to help you to think more rapidly. It's going to, help you to get access to things that you normally wouldn't be able to have because of your physical disabilities. Okay, so Esau is getting these things prepared for us, man. When I say us, I'm talking about the world. Lord willing, the Lord keeps me from, having to, take that charagma. Okay, and let me see here. And we know that, you know, the RFID is the mark of the beast, because this is the type of technology that's going to, if you don't have it, you will not be able to participate in society. Okay, people are gonna lose homes, lose jobs. They won't be able to function if they don't have this technology implanted in their hand, right? And this is why when you go to Romans 13 and 16 and 18, all right, it talks about how, you know, they're gonna have a mark that's gonna be put in their hand. And when you go into that word charagma, it's talking about to engrave, all right, to write. Okay, and this cannot be Christianity, and this cannot be, you know, sin or anything else. Right? The MOTB is going to be a device that's going to be implanted in you. Because you got to understand, Esau's not a spiritual person; he's a carnal person. So everything that he does is through carnality. Okay, so it cannot be Christianity, it cannot be sin or anything like that. Okay, it's a physical thing that he's going to use to brand, all right, people, like products. Okay, when you have a product and you want to keep count of your product, you want to know what your product is as a store owner or a retailer. What do? You put a scanner or an RFID chip on it. Okay, that's going to allow you to be able to identify that product no matter where it is. And this is the technology that they're performing now, that they're advancing now. This technology is increasing more and more as time goes by, man. Okay. But this is Esau's plan. And you know, the elect, we know about these things because the Bible talks about how it's not possible to deceive the elect. Okay, but he's damn sure going to try to do it. Okay, so we're in some great and beautiful times, man, where the Lord is really showing his power and he's working on the minds of these leaders to really come against each other. Okay, and you know, we're all for it because you know we're tired of this place. We want to get the hell up out of here, but before we do, certain prophecies have to take place first, man. Okay, let me see what else I had. I mean, I think that's pretty much it, man. I didn't want to go too deep into it. You know, I was just, you know, watching the news and I just started seeing all these different, you know, instances where, you know, war is imminent, man. Okay. And right now they're trying to be polite about everything, but really, you know, these economists and these political, advisors, you know, they're afraid, but really the elite want this, man. They want to put it into this place because America has too much freedoms. America is it's hard to take over America because of what they call the so-called Constitution. All right. So, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praise and honor unto the Heavenly Father, whose true name is Yahweh Bashmi Shai Bashim Rachakodash. Hey, once again, double honor to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who do real well. To you all I say shalom.